I don't know how to intro a video. After years of tech problems, I'm finally building a new PC, and I'm super excited about it. It's like the only thing in life that I actually genuinely get excited for. I've been steadily losing my mind waiting for this all to be delivered, and we're finally here. I got a little lav mic. You guys can actually hear me over here. It probably sounds like crap, but trust me, it doesn't sound as bad as using the studio mic from across the room. Ignore all this going on. I'm rearranging the whole room and the desk setup, but you guys will see at the end what it all looks like. I don't like how you guys can just look at my legs. Hold on. There we go. Now we're cooking. So I'll put up a little thing sort of saying what the PC is gonna be, made out of, but basically I got a 7900 XT and a Ryzen 5 7600X, I think. Those are my CPU and GPU. I haven't built a new computer in 5 or 6 years. It's been a while, so it's gonna be a huge upgrade. If you're curious about why I bought this part, why I bought that part, this part's better, that part's better, I don't care. I built the computer that works for what I need, and I could get a good deal on. That's the reason for anything I bought. Okay, so personally, I always go motherboard first. I know some people like to mount the motherboard in the case and then do all the components there, but I got big, non-dexterous rock climber hands that just sort of break everything. So I like to, put all the parts in before it actually gets into the tight case. I got a B650X AX gaming. I got a motherboard. It's got DDR5. I'm excited for it. So I always put the CPU in first, and I think they're now pinless, which is pretty good. I mean, way less chance of breaking stuff. Bending the pins is always my biggest fear. That or getting thermal paste everywhere. It does pretty simply just lock in there. You lift the hatch. I'll show you guys a photo, but you lift the hatch, and then you just kind of slide your little brain in. And this is the part that if you do anything to it at all, it breaks and your whole PC is dead. Oh yeah, look at that. Not a pin in sight. So much better than it used to be. There used to be all these long pins sticking out of it that if you bent them, you were screwed. So little triangles in the top left corner, line them up and just whoop. Bam, easy. Shut that down. And that's CPU done. That's the most stressful part to me, so good start. So I do the sort of like heat sink radiator next. That'll be this guy here. I used to do water cooling. My current PC has water cooling, but this one I'm just gonna go with a regular radiator fan. The case is really well cooled, so I don't think heat's gonna be an issue at all. Now I'm realizing that this actually has a second fan option to install if you want some extra airflow. I'm gonna do that, but because it's so high profile, first what I'll do is install a RAM. It looks like the fan's gonna hang just over the RAM slot 1. So I got a single 32 gig stick, which is crazy. My current PC, the one I built 5 or 6 years ago, it's got 2 8 gig sticks. So I'm getting double the gigabytes with half the sticks. And this is 6,000 MTS. My old one's 3,300. Shit is fast. RAM's pretty straightforward, just kind of drop it in there, although one-handed is a bit more of a challenge. Pop, there we go, now it's in. Now I gotta install like a backplate and all that, so I think I gotta pull off the stock backplate from the motherboard to add the one that the fan came with, so it's gonna be a minute. Oh yeah, now it's ready for fans. It's a little plastic over that metal flat part. The metal flat part is what connects to CPU there, for anyone who doesn't know, and I don't want to get that dirty, so I'm gonna leave that covered up until the last second, but look at this thing. Jesus Christ. What a monster. All right, I won't do a camera, close-up of this one because I'm always freaked out, but we're gonna put some thermal paste on there and then just throw the heatsink on. Yeah, stressful part done. We did it. All right, so fans going back on. We want to have them both blowing towards what's going to be the back of the computer, basically, because it'll help airflow that way. God, that is looking beefy. Thing is going to be cooled to hell. I'm ready for it. So now it's time for the solid state, which I'm doing a terabyte solid state, which is what I have in my old PC, but this one's an M2, which I've actually never used before. So it, instead of plugging into the motherboard and like getting mounted in like a drive slot, it just connects, like it's a little chip that goes directly into the motherboard. So that's cool. It's so little. I didn't expect that. Look at that little guy. Every picture I've seen of it, I thought it was way bigger. So I think it actually goes under this screwed-in panel. So I'm gonna unscrew that and hope I'm right. See. So this is essentially a heat sink, I guess, and then it just pops in there. Cool. Yeah, and there it is, all tucked in. I put it into the slot that goes direct to the CPU instead of to the chipset, just because it's supposed to be a little faster. There we go, no problem at all. All right, now it's time to mount this guy into the actual case. I need screws to separate it from the case itself to prevent shorting, and the back plate, both of which weren't in the box, so I'm hoping they're in the case somewhere. Woo! There's all our crap. It actually looks like the standoff screws are already in there, which is pretty convenient for me. It's just occurred to me that I have a couple 140mm fans I want to put on top of the case. It's gonna be hard to do after I scoot this down, so I'm gonna do it real quick. All right, temporary reset so I can install these guys. Got two 140mm I'm gonna put in the top of the case. It comes with three 120mm in the front. I've got those two for the heatsink, and that's pretty much gonna be handling the oh, and one exhaust fan in the back, and a power supply. So we got a lot of fans. Oh, would you look at that? These screw in from the top, so I didn't need to take the motherboard out. Perfect. All right, we got the 140mm in now, no problem. There are basically two types of PC builders out there. There's the people who like meticulously plan every detail, the whole build out. They know exactly how it's all gonna go way before they ever start. And there's people like me, you know, who just live life, do it, approach the problems as they come to them. And basically what I'm saying is, the fans I just put in are now blocking the things I need to screw in the motherboard. Okay, motherboard in, fans in. I think, you know, accepting the risk that I'm jinxing myself, I think we're through all the annoying parts of it. We got a heatsink, fans, RAM, everything's done. Look at that. We're starting to look like a real PC, minus, you know, one very important part. So I think from here we can pretty much do this all standing up. I'm gonna throw a power supply in. This guy's probably a bit more powerful than I need it to be, but it's fully modular, which is always what I go for. And, you know, 80 plus gold certified and all that stuff. So it's a nice, fancy, good one. These guys are pretty easy. You just kind of throw them in there. I like to do fan up, so it pulls air out of the PC and then blows it out the back. People flip it the other way sometimes. I don't really know if it makes that much of a difference, but this is always the way I go. There's really not a ton of room between the power supply and the hard drive bay. So I'm probably not gonna screw it in until I put in the modular power supplies, or power cords. So at this point, it's basically a game of wire management. The PSU is now back out. It's over there on my desk. I gotta try to fit a bunch of fan plugs, a bunch of hard drive and solid state drive cables, the general power cables, all that in a way that looks good and is good for airflow, which is gonna take me probably like an hour or two, and I'm not gonna make you guys watch that. I'm just gonna listen to music and slowly do this and ramble to myself, and I'll include anything that I feel like. It's kind of funny if I think about like my whole life, basically. I tend to sort of separate it into chapters based around what PC I had built at that time. There are much more important things I could separate my life on, but I think it's the PCs. You know, I started with my old E-machine when I was like 12 years old and just playing World of Warcraft. And then I built my first real computer after that, which was just like high school gaming. Then when I hit college, I built this ridiculous, like, massive computer. It was the first full-size tower that I did. It was I think Cooler Master Stormtrooper was the name of it. It was gigantic. It had like a big metal handle on top. That was the first when I started working, doing development and stuff as a job. And I thought like, okay, this is the highest end PC I'll ever build. And then after that, I built the computer I currently use, which was very good. And that computer has had a pretty crazy chapter. I don't know. I mean, That's the one that I started my software engineering job in. I started streaming on it. The Frankenstein channel, my original channel, started about 2 years after I built that PC. I had a long-term relationship during it that started and ended. I moved cross-country. My dog of 20 years passed away during it. It was a pretty crazy chapter on that PC, but I remember when I built it, I basically thought to myself, like, I'm in adulthood now, right? I built it. I was out of school. I was working as a researcher. I had like a job that I thought would be kind of my career job. I was in a relationship that could go the distance kind of thing. I was in a spot where I thought, okay, I'm not exactly happy with where I am, but I'm on like the path to where I'm going. And holy shit, was I wrong about it. I now live on the other side of the country in a completely different career field. I'm in a whole different relationship. I've reconnected with all different friends and old friends. It's a whole different time, and I feel like it's almost more sentimental than I feel like I ever give myself credit for being, because it feels like that PC, it is dying at kind of an inconvenient time, but it does feel like it picked the right spot to start a new chapter with this PC that I once again feel like is a PC that's maybe a bit more in the chapter that I want to be in. That or the computer's just dying because it's a dick. Because I definitely talked about wanting to save up money to replace it, and then that stream, it just completely died on me. We've made it, sort of. It's not done. It's now time for video card. And then once video card, PSU will go back in, and then everything will get plugged in. Cable management's mostly done. We're getting there. Oh yeah, look at that guy. That's what we're waiting for. These things are getting huge, by the way. They are obscene in their presence. And now, the final hassle of cable management, we just plug in the GPU. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Okay, I think it's actually done. I still have the back open and some unplugged in SATA cables. I'm gonna add some hard drives to it, but I wanna test if it boots first, so I guess moment of truth. Okay, so I have Windows on a USB that I'm gonna use to do the whole installation and all that, but for now I just wanna see if it posts, and then I can kind of do the rest of it on my own and show you guys after. So let's just... It's looking good. Nothing's coming up on the screen. There's nothing on the screen, and that's a little concerning. Hello? The GPU's fans are running. Why do we got no display? So you could probably see that bright red light in the middle of the computer there. That's the DRAM light. That probably means my RAM stick is either busted or installed wrong. So I'm gonna check on that real quick.
Know you're tired of dumb shit, so check this hit.
So if you ever built a PC, you know that when it fails to boot, it's often a frustrating process that follows. Everything probably looks the same to you, but it is now 4 hours later than last I saw you. And that is for two reasons primarily. One, this motherboard has something called QFlash Plus on it, which basically means you can update the BIOS without ever having to turn the computer on or get it to boot or to post. And as a result of that, the motherboard manufacturer decided to send it without the BIOS software it needs to recognize memory. So I had to download, the BIOS file onto a USB and then put that USB into the computer and then flash the motherboard so that it pushes and then it could recognize memory. Once it could recognize memory, that was when I learned that the single 32 gigabyte stick that I had was some sort of weird scam thing on Amazon. I think what it was someone bought it, switched it for a different stick, returned it, and then Amazon sold it as new. It looked like it was an official Kingston stick, but not the one that I bought. I don't know. The serial number didn't match up with what I was looking at. It was a whole weird thing. So I returned that one. So now we have two 16 gigabyte Corsair cards, and the motherboard can recognize those. And as a result, we have this beautiful screen here. So it should be done being built. I think we're through it. I have to re-cable manage it and put this fan back in place because I had to take a bunch of stuff apart when I was trying to diagnose it. But I'll install Windows and get it all ready, and then I'll set the desk up and just show you guys the end result. So here's some pictures and videos of the new setup, but I gotta be honest, they're all kind of terrible. How in the hell do people take these kind of photos? Like, everything's either overexposed or just black as the night, and if you add any direct light at all, you just get reflections and glares all over the place, and that's not even accounting for all these goddamn LEDs getting all blurry when the camera looks at them. Seriously, someone send me like a guide or something on how to do this better. But in all seriousness, I was able to build this PC pretty much entirely from stream income on the new account, which is saying a ton because I have not been able to stream all that much since I moved, so I really appreciate the support from all of you because it definitely has not been earned. The new PC has me pretty motivated to work on some stuff for stream and future YouTube content, so be on the lookout for that in the coming weeks, and thanks for watching.